Us.
Glad to be here.
You are leading in some of the Florida polls, but still trailing in some of the national polls. Are you the front runner or the underdog?
Well, I think when you have the amount of money that Romney has, I'm the underdog because he's going to spend, I think, 13 or 15 or 18 million dollars here, and that's a massive amount of money. So I need to have people, which is why I'm thrilled to be here at an airport rally with literally, I think, 3,000 plus people.
Are you then the insurgent running against the establishment candidate?
I represent an insurgency at the grassroots level. I represent the Tea Partiers. I represent the evangelicals. I represent people who are sick and tired of Washington. And he pretty much represents the establishment in every form. I mean, look at his major donors. Look at the people he has jumping up and down as surrogates.
Okay, so, but you are the former speaker, third in succession to the presidency. He's a one-term governor from Massachusetts. How does that make you an insurgent?
Well, I'm an insurgent because I would dramatically change Washington, and he clearly would manage the decay in a pleasant way that all the insiders would feel comfortable with. And so, I mean, there's no evidence in Massachusetts that he changed anything except Romney Care. And if you're a liberal Democrat, Romney Care was terrific because it's the precursor to Obamacare. That's why Teddy Kennedy went to the signing ceremony.
There are rumblings now in Congress and in Washington on Capitol Hill that Newt Gingrich, the nominee, costs Republicans House seats, maybe even the majority. What do you say to those people who are expressing that concern?
How short their memory is. The last time I led the House Republican Party, we gained a majority for the first time in 40 years. The last time I led the House Republican Party, we were the first re-elected majority since 1928. I worked with Ronald Reagan and his team on the 1980 campaign. We swept more states than FDR did against Herbert Hoover. I think I have a reasonably good track record of national campaigns, a lot better than Mitt Romney. So I'm pretty happy to say if I become the nominee, we'll run a team campaign, and the team will gain seats. We'll pick up control of the Senate. We'll gain seats in the House. We'll do it on principled issues, and we'll unify the country.
Do you think Washington is afraid of the presidency of a Newt Gingrich because of the changes you'll make?
Absolutely.
How so?
Well, they know that I will be disruptive. They know that I'm going to come in, and on the very first day, we'll have a series of executive orders. For example, we'll eliminate all the White House czars about 2 hours after I'm sworn in. We will go through a whole series of, I'll order the State Department to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem on the first day. We're going to go through a whole series of things like that. You
started that by saying you'll be disruptive. That's one of the criticisms, that Newt Gingrich is so disruptive that you'll ultimately not just shake the pillars of Washington, but shake things up to the point of doing damage.
Well, it depends on whether you regard welfare reform, which was disruptive, or balancing the budget for 4 straight years, which was disruptive, getting the first tax cut in 16 years. The only intelligence plus-up in the 1990s, according to the 9/11 Commission, they called the Gingrich plus-up. You got to decide, if you want change in Washington, then the Gingrich presidency is going to give you change in Washington. If you want to preside over the decay and be pleasant, then get somebody else.
Freddie Mac. Last night and again today, Mitt Romney is saying that 2 current and 2 former members of the House said that you told them to vote a certain way on Medicare Part D, the president's prescription drug benefit, and that constitutes lobbying.
It's not true. We had an expert come in to teach us what can a citizen do and what does a lobbyist do. I've had a public position on Medicare Part D for years. I've said over and over again that it makes no sense to tell a senior citizen, we won't buy you insulin for your diabetes, but we will put you on kidney dialysis. We won't buy you Lipitor, but we will give you open heart surgery. Now, I wrote a book in 2002 called Saving Lives and Saving Money. I had a Center for Health Transformation that had all this stuff online.
The difference was that you were at the time working with Freddie Mac and getting paid for your consulting.
But Freddie Mac didn't care about Part D. This is, again, the Romney's confusion. Romney's consultants apparently write him confused memos. And since he doesn't understand the history of the period and he doesn't understand how Washington works, he gets all jumbled. The Center for Health Transformation had many members, including, by the way, at different times. We did work with Walmart. We did work with Microsoft. We did work with IBM. We also had some pharmaceutical members. We had a number of insurance companies. We had a very broad number of hospitals. We had a very broad membership deliberately because we were trying to get all the players in healthcare to sit down and talk about what we need to do to change the health system. In that context, we wrote lots of papers. We took lots of positions. But they were positions that were public positions that come under a citizenship clause. If you say something publicly and it's your public position, if I also happen to call a member of Congress about something that's public, that's just a citizen phone call. That's not lobbying.
What's at stake for you in Florida versus Mitt Romney?
Well, it will be an enormous advantage to win here. And either one of us who wins here will have a big leg up on the next round.
Must you win?
Well, a little bit this came up in South Carolina, and the point that Karl Rove made was if you add my vote in Santorum's and it's better than Romney's, this race goes on a long time because he can't get to a majority. I would prefer to win. I think we can win. I think the size of the rally we're about to go to is a pretty good sign we're going to win. But you know, when you have a guy like Mitt who will say anything, and who has 13 or 15 or 18 million dollars of advertising, I got to tell you, that's pretty formidable.
If he loses, is he crippled?
Oh, I think if he loses here, having lost decisively in South Carolina, having lost in the final count Iowa, the only state he will have carried at that point is the one he has a house in New England. I think he becomes a pretty limited candidate at that point. But look, you know, everybody's allowed to run as long as they want to. The genius of the American system is anybody who's got guts and perseverance can hang in and do what they want to.
Mr. Speaker?
Good to see you, Carl.